NAACP.
Right?
The NAACP is, I believe, what
W.E. Du Bois.
W.E.B. Du Bois was one of the founders. Ida B. Wells was one of the founders, and then you had 6 white people.
The Jewish people.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think they were Jewish.
Really?
Then they brought in Jewish people, is from what I believe, but it doesn't matter.
All right.
Still, not black. So if it's about the advancement of colored people, what is supposed to association of the advancement of colored people, I understand that maybe we needed some supports from white people to get it going.
Support.
Yeah. But before we even get into too much, why is the Spingarn award that's
break it down to the audience
so
who Spingarn is.
Everyone, so Spingarn, Joel Spingarn is a Jewish individual who was brought on to the board of the NAACP. And now this is where it gets interesting with this individual, with Spingarn. He came in, he was an educator of this and that, and one who was considered an activist. So they were looking to the other, as far as I know, not Du Bois or Ida B. Wells, but the other 6 were looking to bring him in. So they brought him in. He finally decided to come in, but he come in as a chairman. But there is some talk about why he even joined. Some say part of the reason he joined is the fact that he was an informant for the CIA. So he was keeping them informed by giving them tabs on the movement and the progress of the NAACP. And also along with that, he looked to dismantle and break apart Marcus Garvey and his, I believe is the UNIA, which is, or am I saying it wrong? It is the, where did I put that at? In my notes.
They're going to have to look it up anyway. People, do your own research too.
Yeah. But it is, I'm sorry, so it's the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So Marcus Garvey had the Universal Negro Improvement Association. It was the largest of its kind during that time, and it might even be the largest today as far as organizing and bringing together black people. And for everyone, we know that Marcus Garvey was looking to unify all black people, and that's why he came up with the colors red, black, and green. And again, do your research on that. Understand what red stands for, understand what black stands for, and understand what green stands for. There's a reason why he chose those 3 colors. And he removed yellow, which is part of the African flag, or in some areas. So he was looking to bring down Marcus Garvey and the UNIA because Marcus Garvey was all about black economic independence. So he was looking to unify us and to keep our money in the black communities and use that money to for our infrastructure, meaning to create our own banks, to create our own hospitals, our own school system. All of the things that allows a civilization to grow and prosper and be dominant and have a force when it comes to sitting down at the table with these other nations, which we don't have. And that's part of the reason why we still struggle in these here United States, which is a callous land that we walk across to navigate, but we get nowhere. So, because sometimes when you think about it, and I look at how divided we are, especially with these 2 candidates for voting and this and that, I understand that that's a part of it. But again, why are we jumping on the bandwagon of these 2? You know, we're dividing ourselves when we can. There's plenty of black activists in the community who are all about the black agenda. And what is the black agenda? That's something we need to sit down and determine what the black agenda needs to be. And again, people, once we determine what the black agenda is, get on board. Stop nitpicking and saying that, well, this piece here needs to be changed, that piece needs to be. We need to all get on board together and make a movement as a unified group. And then once we get that driving force going, then we can start determining what needs to be adjusted.
So I want to just go back to make sure we're following.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying, okay, Spingarn was elected to be on the board.
Yep.
He
So
was
they brought him
elected
in to be the chairman of the board.
the chairman of the board.
Mm-hmm.
But his sole mission was he was working with the CIAA,
He was working
right?
with CIA. He said
CIAA, I did.
He was
CIA.
playing ball.
Oh,
He was
bam,
playing
bam.
ball.
Okay. CIA. Okay.
The CIA as an informant for
Okay.
them.
All right.
He had his own group. So he had his own private organization of agents as well. So not only was he an informant for the CIA, but then he had his own group, which was I think and I wrote it down too because I didn't want to the MID, which is the Military Intelligence Division. And so he led and ran that as well. And part of MID's goal was to remove the UNIA, which was ran by Marcus Garvey because of the fact that all of the black daughters, so when you look at areas like Harlem and Brooklyn and all of those stores, the majority of the stores and the banks that were all in there were all Jewish owned for the most part.
Okay, so was the NAACP assisting Marcus Garvey, and that's why he had to use that platform to take down Marcus Garvey? Because I'm kind of lost in between. What do the NAACP have to do with
the fact that they allowed him into an organization that's supposed to be for the advancement of colored people, that's the term was used back then. So for black people, with that, then he was able. I'm sure more than likely there were conversations amongst the different groups at the time, especially with the UNIA under Marcus Garvey being the largest group for black people as far as being organized. So I'm sure the NAACP was having conversations, but he was able to follow his movements, Marcus Garvey's movements and everything going on. Now they ended up getting, everyone, you can do your research, but I believe they ended getting Marcus Garvey on some type of tax fraud or something. Something very minute, small.
Because of Spingarn.
He played a part in it.
Okay.
He definitely played a part in it. I can't speak to the specifics of what happened, but the fact that you have this person in there who's infiltrating this group so he can watch all the different groups that were coming up, for black empowerment. Now you got him right there. You got him at the table. So anything that's being discussed, he's privy to all of that information. So whatever he wants to do with it, he can do with it. Whether he's taking it back to the CIA or whether he's using it for the MID, he has that information right there at his disposal to do whatever with. And part of that was to remove the UNIA because that was taking money out of their pockets. And we're a capitalist country. Don't ever get that twisted, people. We are a capitalist country, and it's all about the dollar.
Right.
Even when you think about when they came over here, in the very beginning, they was coming over here to get rid of some of not just the brutal structure that was over there in Britain and stuff, but also to get away from the taxation and other things. But then they just brought that over here. So that's what. So that's just one piece. Because I understand every group that was being established back then, they all had infiltrators. They all had people that was coming in. But this is a white man who creates a medal, an award with his name attached to it for a group that's for the advancement of colored people. This award is now being given out to a prominent black person every single year. But it's the name of a white man, but it's the NAACP, which is for the advancement of colored people. So why not make the award, why not name the award or the medal after W.E.B. Du Bois or Ida B. Wells? Why not name it after the two black people who helped found it, this organization? Why are you naming it after a white person? Why did you even allow him to put his name on it? It's one thing to come up with the idea and say, hey, everyone, we should come up with an award to give out to people each year who are prominent in the black community. But then to have the audacity to say, and I'm gonna name it after me. I know I'm white. but that's okay. I'm gonna name it after me. Even though we got 2 black people who started this, you all don't need to have your names on it. I'm gonna put my name on it. And this has been going on since the NAACP was started in 1909. So this has been going on since 1909. Every year, well, since 1914, I think is when they established the award. Spingarn established the award. So since 1914, they've been giving out this award to people like Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, and this is just a couple of people that off the top of my head that I can think of. But again, why hasn't nobody stepped in and say, hey, how about we rename this? Because it's a good award to be given out, but let's rename it to one of the 2 black founders of the NAACP, like like we just said.
That makes me feel like whoever is funding the NAACP is making that call. So I'm
More
not
than
sure.
likely.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about their funding in 1909. I feel like, W.E.B. Du Bois had to go to the Jewish community or to white people to get funded. So if they're going to put bulk of the money, and then they're going to be making bulk of the decisions. And so it's just like anything else, whoever put up the most money, and you have a nonprofit organization, whoever puts up the most money, they're going to be put as, the person that's giving out the award.
And honestly, I agree with that part. Maybe back in 1914 when it was established, but now we're talking about over 100 years
So
that have gone
just
by.
Get rid of
And why not? And keep the award, but let's rename it. Why are we still giving out this award that has a white man's name attached to it when it's for the advancement of colored people? That's the reason why. And I don't know how many people out there, but how many are even know anything of the NAACP as far as what they do in the community?
Right.
Because I don't know much of what they do in the community. That's something I need to look into. But when I see different movements going on with not just protesting, but things that go on locally here for people who are in situations where they are going in front of the city manager and the aldermen and the city council members to talk about things. I don't ever see the NAACP in those discussions. I don't see them at City Hall helping us out to carry through a certain type of decision that's going to be beneficial to black people. So where are they? And is it because of the type of backing? Are they only looking for things of high publicity that's going to get their names out there?
Well, I know the NAACP, when it was formed, it's supposed to have been to help get African Americans to push the 14th and the 15th Amendment in the African American community, because we wasn't getting equal rights and all the injustice, which it still goes on today. So I do know that some of the things that they have done, it is some positive things that they have done, and that's during the Jim Crow era. They have done a lot during that era. But I was reading up, and Martin Luther King didn't like a lot of their ways. So then Martin Luther King formed another organization, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Because of I guess he knew it was some shade up in being shady up in the NAACP.
Definitely.
And so, but that goes to show you that, like, all these different groups, like you have said before, that we're so divided and we can't unify. And I think that is because we do. Because of the need of bringing the Jewish community in and bringing other people in, and having, I don't want to say Uncle Tom's because that's not a good.
That's not correct term.
Right. Well, a black person that's shady that come into your organization, they have other intentions, right? So then you have those people. So I think that is like more of the root cause of why we can't come together. It's because you just have all of these bad seeds that keep joining the organizations, or everybody has their own agenda.
Right.
So
and that's the thing. That's why for us to move as a force, we have to have an agenda that everyone goes forward with, and say, regardless of the specifics of certain pieces that you might not like, we need to unify.
Right.